Says we're live.
Great. Thanks everybody for joining us. This East Lansing Downtown Development Authority Public Policy and Market Development Committee meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll, keeping in mind our rules regarding virtual meetings?
That's correct. Thanks for the reminder. Jackie Babcock.
I'm present, remote from East Lansing, Michigan.
Thank you. Greg Ballline. Not with us yet. Kristen Clark. Is here. Luke Hackney. Michael Kruger.
Present remotely from East Lansing.
Eric Rosecrans.
Present remotely from East Lansing.
Amy Richter Perkins.
Present remotely, East Lansing.
And Mayor Stevens.
Present, attending virtually from East Lansing, Michigan, Ingham County. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Michael Kruger, supported by Jacqueline Babcock. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great. On to communications. Do we have any written communications?
No, sir.
Great. And on to communications from the audience. Do we have any folks that wish to speak to the Public Policy Committee?
We do not have any callers in the queue at this time.
All righty. And on to communications from staff. What you got?
Oh, I don't have any update. No, I'm joking. So
That would be very irregular.
yeah. As we all know, last month DDA, we discussed the Pedlet pilot project. Since that meeting, we have done extensive amount of stakeholder outreach and input. And based on that input, we put a pause on the Pedlet pilot project. So the reason for the pause was to allow more time for that stakeholder input and then also consider some alternatives. And so what we're currently doing right now is exploring an alternative that may help address a lot of the concerns. Essentially, it'd be the same design that we discussed at the DDA meeting in April, except for there would be no lane closure. The Pedlet would not occur on Albert Avenue. It would occur in that space north of the planter boxes on Albert Avenue sidewalk, on the south side sidewalk, in front of Barrio, Jolly, and Foster's, and then south of the bike lane. And so there's enough clearance for ADA to allow for that. We'd still have to put barriers up to protect the pedestrians from traffic. And we would still plan on installing lighting and other amenities to beautify the area and enhance the pedestrian experience.
What's the timeline on that?
Well, now that I feel like there hasn't been a lot of a pushback, I guess, or concerns with that approach, I feel comfortable enough to really start moving forward and pricing stuff out. So the thought would be to come back into this month to DDA, provide a comprehensive update and any funding requests that we may need.
Okay, my only request in terms of moving forward is that if there were businesses that reached out specifically with concerns originally, that those businesses are in a more direct way reached out to regarding the new plans going forward. I think that that's a great idea. I think that the main issue was the lane closure, and that was where a lot of the concern was. And I think that, you know, this idea is something that it's done in a lot of cities. We are not the first to do it. We certainly will not be the last. And it's something that we really do want to encourage in the city of East Lansing, not just for this year, but to continue to have, you know, a fun and great placemaking environment in the downtown. And I really hope that it extends beyond even just Albert Ave, but into Ann Street Plaza and down Albert Ave to, you know, all the way down to Bailey Street, right? Because this is something that would bring folks into the downtown and certainly, hopefully, instigate some more folks in the community to come down.
Absolutely. And if you recall the map that we went over last time, I was showing you that what kind of placemaking activities we're doing on every block along Albert Avenue. And so it essentially, we're doing something on every block from Bill Sharp Park to Bailey to
Right.
on Block Alley. So we'll continue to implement the place project and then come up with ideas in the future to move that placemaking forward.
Right.
So, yeah, I think to your point, the lane closures deserve a broader conversation with a larger group to really understand those concerns so that we can address them moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't remember who said it. It was either at RHC or it was maybe in a conversation with MSU folks. But perception is reality, right? And so that's really where folks, and I mean, it is true, right? You have the it's hard to park downtown, right? When in reality it isn't. But of course, that perception is something that we need to take into account, right? And so I think that if it's the lane closure that's holding people back from coming to some of the retail establishments, I think it's important to note, and I'm glad that it was addressed, I think, in a good way. And I fully support this project. I think it'll be really good.
Great. Awesome.
Any other questions for Adam, or sorry, on that topic?
No, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I had comments on that. So I know after our last meeting, I talked to you about everything that you were doing and how well received it is when I'm talking about Shoshone property. I think it would be beneficial if we worked on the marketing side to put together some piece that could be shared with property owners or brokers, that shows everything you're doing in that regard for downtown. And you sent me the PDF, and you're right, it doesn't convert very well. So I don't know if there's a budget or something where we could recommend some type of piece to share for down there. But I think it's great what you're doing. And I think we could utilize that to attract groups, retailers, restaurant groups that are looking at coming into East Lansing. And we've seen an uptick in vacancy, so it could be a helpful tool.
Yeah, I agree, Amy, and I do appreciate the feedback that you've provided. It is on top of my list to get that going. As you're aware, we've hired some seasonal part-time staff for the summer to help us, and 2 of them are marketing and advertising creatives. And so we're hashing out kind of the priority list for this summer, which I hope to be able to discuss in more detail at the end of this month.
Great.
It's definitely on the top of the list because I think it's a great idea.
I'm very, very happy to relinquish my very temporary position as running the meeting to Chair Hackney, who just joined us.
Thank you. My apologies for being so late.
All good. Chair, do you mind if I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. Actually, this is more of a comment, but I said this at RHC, and I still hold that it's true, and I hope that this committee would be supportive of pushing this beyond the barrier of Albert. And of course, Adam and his team and the folks who are planning and building have done an incredible job of really creating spaces in the downtown for outdoor areas to hang out, to eat food, to hang out with friends and just be in the downtown. But I do think one of the areas that is underutilized right now is the policy changes that the council made to outdoor dining and the ability for restaurants to basically have an extremely streamlined process to do that, and then even serve alcohol in roped off controlled areas. There's a lot of businesses in the downtown that I do think have ample space in the right of way to try to expand a little bit further. And I'm not at all disparaging the work that's being done on Albert, that's being initiated by the city. But, because we reduce those fees and because the policy is in place to make that easier, something that I'm going to really look towards and try to do some outreach of my own to businesses is to try and get them on that track. So maybe we can see, throughout downtown, a lot of restaurants opening, somewhat of an outdoor environment that seems a little bit more inviting to folks that might be walking by or driving by, and they might see, well, this is kind of a nice place, and I might have a margarita outside rather than going into the establishment. So I think this is like a great first step, and it was a great first step when it started, and I want to see it throughout the downtown. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be great to get it scattered throughout the entire downtown for sure. The only other updates regarding the Place project at this time is this Saturday, we'll be installing sidewalk chalk art at Division Street. So, we installed the panels, we've got the seating, the turf, there's going to be lights, there's going to be an on-street parklet system, not closing any lanes down. They'll be in the parking spaces. But this weekend we'll be chalking up the sidewalk to kind of define the pathway and, increase the art in the area. We're really focusing on art installations on that block in that space. The bright pink curbside paint has arrived. So now we're just looking to schedule getting that on the concrete. Let's see. And then Evergreen Properties, we're still shooting for end of July for demolition. Other than that, I don't have any other updates.
Adam, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but then if you're shooting for the end of July on that, what is the timetable of MSU FCU right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. We're still hashing out all the logistics and everything. So it's really going to depend how soon we get every contract executed and get those buildings demolished. But we should have a clearer understanding here in the very near future.
Adam, do you know when Valley Court might be opened back up, or some sort of road to be able to get to us from that side of town?
I'm not quite sure. Sorry, I'm thinking. Let me touch base with our public works folks and see if I can get a clear timeline on that.
Would you mind following up with all of us via email on that?
No, not at all.
Thanks. Luke, I apologize. We were on communications from staff, just so you know.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Is that everything then, Adam?
Yes, Chair.
All right. Well, then we can move on to 3.1, the available property listings, the downtown East Lansing available spaces as of May of 2021.
All right. Adam, you able to pull that up? Just wanted to go over, there was just a couple of minor changes to it. On page 2, I had a dimensional update on Suite 49. And then on page 11, I was able to insert a new rental rate for that unit. Okay. We can get the screen to catch up. And then there was a square footage update as well on page 14, but all the listings remain the same, so.
Chad, can you send me that
Absolutely.
when you get a chance? Thanks.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments on that? And we will move on to 3.2, review and discussion on the proposed updates to the City of East Lansing's green building policy.
Just 1 second, Chair, bringing that PDF back up since it was not working. Okay, so what we have here, if you recall last month at DDA board meeting, Kathy DeChambeau, the environmental services administrator with DPW, had sent along the letter from the Commission on the Environment, as well as a draft green building policy. they were soliciting our input and our buy-in. And so we discussed last month coming back together at each committee meeting, as well as the DDA board meeting, to discuss as a group any feedback, questions we may have. Did everyone have a chance to read through? The letters is basically kind of outlining, you know, where I guess you guys left off before I came on board. You guys were going down this path and then COVID hit. I believe the last meeting was February 2020. And so they're really just trying to pick back up where they left off. And my understanding is there was a work group, several work groups that DDA board members were a part of. I'm sorry, Chair, it looked like you were about to say no. So it maps out the timeline, the process of how they've gotten to this point, right? And then moving forward, and then attach the green building policy itself. The main takeaways are the thresholds on the square footage, and then the municipality owned buildings, new construction versus rehab, and then public-private partnership redevelopments where incentives are used for that project. And so there's various thresholds, as you can see, based on square footage, building type, and owner type. Based on those thresholds, there's different lead standards. And so, for example, a new building under a public-private partnership where incentives are used, and it's over 5,000 square feet, would need to get 40 points on the LEED standard certification scoring sheet. So they're really trying to move the city forward with its green building policies and its sustainability goals. And so with that, do you guys have questions? Are there discussion points that we want to bring up on this?
You talked to me a little bit about the 15%. Is that kind of a standard across different green building policies throughout different cities?
The 15%, what are you referencing?
The financial incentives over 15%.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you if that's a standard percentage, but typically, yeah, there's a threshold based on whatever percentage that municipality comes up with.
So did we come up with that, or did the city just come up with that based on what?
I believe the Commission on the Environment, the Sustainable Buildings, they came up with that based on a lot of research and then state outreach and input.
Okay.
So essentially, just trying to attach any incentives to help us meet our sustainability goals as a community.
Okay. All right, and then this can only really occur if it's owned by us or if we are a partner in the process.
We're a partner and there's TIF attached to it or any kind of other incentive that we may have.
So we couldn't, put that out there just as something that is a standard across, a private development as well.
Are you asking if we could?
Yeah, I just didn't know.
I mean, I would imagine we could through various ordinances, whether it's form-based code or whatnot, but I'm not certain on that.
Okay, and all right. I think, and I'm not, go ahead. I'm not super familiar with the Environmental Commission's discussion on this, so I'm sure there's reasoning behind it. I just honestly was kind of interested to know. But I mean, this seems reasonable for public-private partnerships, and then of course municipal buildings. So.
Do we need to take action on this, or is this just for our review and or feedback?
No action, no, this is for discussion purposes. And if the DDA determines that they're comfortable with the green building policy, they don't have additional feedback or would like to see revisions, the request would be to draft and prepare an approval letter supporting the policy.
At the DDA level.
At the DDA level, correct.
Just to move that meeting along forward, then I'd be happy to make a recommendation. I'll make a motion to make a recommendation that the DDA writes a letter supporting this draft.
Second.
All right, it's been supported by Aaron. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I late to the meeting.
All right, great. Then the motion carries unanimously. And we can close this and we can move on to the next agenda item, which is committee member comments and discussion. Do any comments, discussion at this time?
You all look fabulous.
Yeah.
There's got to be at least one question out there.
When are you gonna demolish some of the parking structures and put back surface lot parking, Adam?
You know, that's like the core of our placemaking strategy.
Oh,
So,
good.
Okay. Well, before we adjourn though, I do want to, so Greg Ballline did enter this meeting. Greg, where are you currently at? Just for the record.
My mistake. I'm sorry. I just pulled into my house, East Lansing, Michigan, Hingham County.
All right, cool. And I too, I'm in East Lansing, Michigan, Ingham County, if that wasn't.
Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Okay, then we can move on to everyone's favorite item agenda, and that is the adjournment. Thank you so much. Apologies for the lateness, and you all have a great day.
Have a great one, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.